Hey cuties, what's up? We're back with some more reactions after dark, and we're of course going to be watching Darkest Corners of the Internet 6, obviously by question. We finally made it to the end. This is the last episode in the Darkest Corners of the Internet from question, because this was uploaded 10 days ago. That's it, we finally made it. I mean, unfortunate that, what was it, number 3? We couldn't have on the channel, but we've done all the other ones, right? And then we can move on to other things for next week. I mean, he did just upload a Disturbing Internet Horrors of India. I was going to do that at some point, but I probably have to do a Stephanie video before we get around to that India video. But yeah, I don't have anything to say. We don't have any tea today. Question mark. I mean, other than the fact that I feel like I gotta quit Pokemon Champions. It's just so miserable. Just like any competitive game is. It just, once you just get to a certain point, it was like, this is just not fun, right? This is not, you're not meant to have fun. I mean, that's not what it's for, right? So probably dropping Champions. I don't know yet. I'll have to think about it. And also, was it yesterday? Sorry, yesterday for the Cognito Hazard, though. I'm pretty sure no one cares, right? No one's complained about the Cognito Hazard from yesterday, so I think everything's fine. So the first one's what, 13-year YouTube stalker? Is it 13-year-old YouTube stalker or 13 years YouTube stalker? It's kind of like complicated because this is 13-year. It doesn't say years. It doesn't say 13 years old. Just 13-year. It's not like it's not proper English. And of course, disclaimer: the following video may cover sensitive topics such as sensitive events and strange images and videos. Viewer discretion is advised, even though you can't see this because it's so blurred out. Oh yeah, and is the video too loud? Again, I didn't realize his videos are so loud because I have the audio lowered on my side. I'll turn it down if it's too low. Yeah, see, 13-year YouTube stalker. Disclaimer: the story is based on publicly available videos, online discussions, that's a weird sentence, and community analysis, primarily from the original Reddit thread on r/internet mysteries. Much of what is presented is theorized and alleged and should be treated as heavily speculated. When referring to the Japanese photographer, please note that this identification is not officially confirmed. It is based solely on visual observations from the footage as discussed in the original Reddit post, and no verified personal details about the individual have been publicly established. What are we getting ourselves into?
You can be watched for years by someone who chose you and never feel a thing. They learn your
Okay, so yeah, that was like way too loud. I couldn't even understand what he was saying. It was so like loud, it just muted it out.
routines. They know where you go. They show up to the places you think are ordinary and safe. You have no idea that they're there. For one man in Hong Kong, a Japanese photographer, this was his reality for at least 13 years. And almost all of it was uploaded onto YouTube under a channel called...
Okay, so it is 13 years. Okay, so it's, I think we already understand, right? It's someone who's constantly videoing this photographer without them knowing.
Toy739Toy, a username that tells you absolutely nothing. It appeared on YouTube in 2007, back when the platform was still new and strange corners were easy to find. Toy739Toy would have to fit right in, so it went almost entirely untouched. The channel has no banner, no description, no links, no about page. All it is a name and thousands of short videos, most of them being under 20 seconds, but being uploaded over the years. If you stumbled across it back then, it probably looked like nothing, random clips that you would either not click on or click away from in seconds. But if you...
It could just be someone who he knows and is making these videos because they want to. Maybe it's his wife, question mark.
If you watch enough of them, a pattern starts to emerge, and once you saw it, it was hard to unsee. Every video shows the exact same man. He appears to be an Asian man, possibly Japanese based on his features. and he lives and works in Hong Kong. With him, he carries a serious camera, as he's a photographer. In most of the clips, he's just living his life and working, but most of the clips show him in a professional setting, at public events, press gatherings, entertainment appearances, and he's often working alongside other photographers, and while he's doing that, somebody else from above or from a distance is doing the exact same thing, and no one seems to notice.
Yeah, because I mean, if a bunch of people are there with cameras doing photography, they might just assume that the person holding the camera way up there is doing the same thing. Again, unless this is this person's wife or something, and they're just, you know, videotaping their husband because they love them or whatever. I don't know.
Most of the clips are not dramatic in any way, just fragments of a man working in his ordinary life. Except, this man didn't know he was being filmed. That much is obvious. As for the person filming, the camera is really never close. He's always tucked behind a pillar, positioned on a higher floor or balcony, or shot through a gap in a crowd. The angle
Also, we're assuming this is a man.
changes. Same goes for the location. But
The person who's videotaping this guy, we're assuming that this guy's a man because he's referring to him as a man.
floor or balcony, or shot through a gap in a crowd. The angle changes. Same goes for the location, but the approach is always the same. Whoever was holding that camera didn't want to be seen, and this would go on for over a decade. And by the time people started paying attention, the channel had over 7,000 uploads. Most of them, yes, being
Is it all him?
short clips. But the sheer number of the uploads told its own story.
Like 7,000 videos of just this guy. I mean, I've been uploading for just as long as this guy, I would assume. But he joined in 2007, but I don't think he's been doing this since 2007, right? Because unless they stopped uploading in 2020, I guess, then that would make some sense then. But yeah, I've been uploading videos for more than 13 years, right? 15? God, I think it's like 15 years. It hurts to say that, right? Because I'm a nobody, even after 15 years. But I don't even have this many videos. I have like 4,000 and something. I mean, I can check real quick. I have 4.9 thousand videos, so I have almost 5,000 videos on this channel. I mean, of course, all my videos are like more than just a couple seconds like this, so technically I have, if we combined time, then I have a gajillion times more time than these videos combined, but still beat me on how many videos I have.
Story. This is clearly not random, and the pure scale of it, the time and the consistency across years and locations, is what really stood out. And the uploads just kept coming in. And as far as anyone could tell from the footage, the photographer had absolutely no idea, and it seemed like whoever was behind the lens was careful, a patient, well-positioned person, never getting too close. It possibly
Again, unless they know him and again are his wife or is his wife and is doing this because they want to do it alongside him, and they just photograph him. What do you call like just videotaping somebody? Because it feels like saying videotaping someone isn't. It doesn't sound nice, and by nice I mean it doesn't sound cool. Like photographing someone sounds normal, but videotaping sounds, I don't know, layman, I guess is how you would put it. It sounds layman. So I don't know what else to call it, but videotaping someone. But again, it could just be his wife again, just recording him.
even looks like work of someone who knew exactly what they were doing. Although every clip isn't completely calm. In certain videos, the photographer actually glances toward the camera, usually not directly at it, but he never found it, not for years. This channel would eventually be discovered by a user on Reddit.
Obscure YouTube channel with hundreds of seemingly covert recordings of a man. Hundreds, don't you mean thousands?
Posted the r/internet mysteries. People would start cross-referencing clips and start building a timeline, and a few things would start becoming clear. The footage wasn't limited to one location. Whoever was doing this was mobile. They knew where he would be, or their
Yeah, I mean, how would you know where someone could be unless you were their wife or husband, whatever, and constantly going with them to said events to do this, question mark. And I'll read this if he doesn't read it.
They're willing to follow him wherever he went. The channel had almost this was
Okay. A few days ago, I stumbled upon something unusual in my YouTube feed. Buried among my usual recommendations was a channel that immediately stood out because of the strange thumbnail. The name of the channel is Toy739Toy. Clicking through, I noticed that the channel contained over 7,000 videos. The sheer volume of uploads was strange enough, but the actual contents of the video is even more odd. Is it odd to have 7,000 videos? Because again, I have 5,000 videos over the span of 15 years or so. So if you just upload every day, you'll get to that point eventually, right? I feel like 5,000 videos for me is like less than that. So what if you upload one video a day? That's 365 times 10 years. That's 3,650 videos. So that's almost already close. Cut that in half to like, what, I don't know, let's say 1800. So what's that, like 5 point something. So that's over 5,000 videos for 15 years. So actually, that's kind of accurate. Like, one video a day for 15 years is around 5,000 videos. Granted, I've been uploading 2 videos every day for, well, now it's not every day, but for every day before for a few years. So that replaces all the gaps when I wasn't uploading that often. Because there were years where I was barely uploading at all. Anyways, to summarize the contents of the video I watched so far, the vast majority of the clips posted by Toy739Toy are extremely short, typically no more than 10 to 20 seconds. Among these videos, many feature what appears to be a Japanese photographer, often in the presence of other individuals who seem to be public figures or at public events. At first, I might have glossed this over as some personal archive, but there are some aspects of these clips that leave me puzzled about this channel. The first is its obsessive focus on this individual. For years, the channel has uploaded footage mostly centered on this one photographer, documenting him in various settings where he is the sole subject of interest. Despite him not doing anything particularly noteworthy in the videos, however, what is more concerning to me is the manner in which the footage is captured. Many of the videos are shot at strange angles, often from elevated or distant vantage points. At the same time, the man in the videos never acknowledges the camera. It seems completely oblivious to being the focus of this relentless documentation. In the few videos I watched, he never looks at the camera recording or shows any signs he's aware that he's being recorded, except maybe in the final video where he seems to notice the camera before leaving soon after. It makes me wonder what the purpose of this channel is at all. Why invest years of effort into uploading thousands of short clips of the same man? What's the point? If it were meant as a personal archive, the seemingly hidden and clandestine approach makes little sense. Who is recording this? It almost seems like the person is doing some surveillance on this guy. If anybody knows anything about this channel or the man in the video, I'd really like to know, as I am stumped. It could all be completely normal, but there just are these elements that do not add up.
They knew where he would be, or they're willing to follow him wherever he went. The channel had almost no engagement, no real subscribers, no comments worth mentioning.
6 years ago, so it stopped in 2020.
No likes, not even being monetized. By every single visible metric, it doesn't look to be made for an audience, which begs the question, who exactly was it for? Maybe the uploads were never the main point. Maybe they were just a way of archiving footage, or maybe it's exactly what it looks like. One person fixated on another man, documenting him obsessively, and uploading the clips to a platform where almost nobody would ever see them. And the main theories that emerged from the discussion fell into a few categories. The most straightforward was personal obsession, a stalker with an unhealthy fixation, filming this man for
Like in that last clip, he did look at the person with the camera, but then immediately glanced away because it's just another person doing photography.
years out of some private compulsion. That would explain the consistency and the intimacy of the footage without any direct contact. But what is unusual is the uploading. Most stalkers don't document themselves like this. If this truly was for themselves, why not unlist or private the videos? Why make them public? The second theory was political.
I don't know. Voyeurism.
List or private the videos. Why make them public? The second theory was political. Hong Kong in the late 2010s was a tense place. The Umbrella Movement in 2014 and the 2019 protests against the extradition bill brought heavy surveillance of activists, journalists, and foreigners. Is that Hong Kong had no specific laws against stalking during the entire time the channel was active. Even if the photographer had known what was happening, his legal options would have been limited. People suspect the photographer was Japanese, a foreigner whose work regularly put him at public events and press gatherings in a city under intense political pressure. But of course, this is all speculation. Nothing has ever been proven. But the discussion on the subreddit is where these theories first took shape and spread. And of course, none of these theories have been confirmed. But again, none of these have been disproven. The last video was uploaded on December 15, 2019. By then, Hong Kong had been through 6 months of protest. The city was exhausted. The streets were still tense. On that December afternoon, the clip itself is short, but this video is different from the others. The man is not shooting. His camera is in his hand and he's not using it. He's just standing there fidgeting with it, and he's relatively still. But then something shifts. His head turns. He looks in the direction of the camera, not directly at it at first, but close. He glances around, and then he finds it. After years of almost never seeing it, he now finally sees it. And he doesn't react dramatically. He doesn't stop or shout. He just looks back, calm, almost casual, and then he walks. Quickly, purposefully, off frame, gone just like that. Shortly after that, the channel went silent. No more uploads, no explanation.
Dang it, I feel like he has glanced in the camera's direction before, like in that one. I feel like he made contact with the person, eye contact, and then just kept about his day because, again, it's just some random other person who's doing photography, question mark.
The channel simply stopped. It's still there, and as of writing, over 7,000 clips stretching back to 2007, unwatched by most people. A complete record of a man's public life, assembled without his knowledge over 13 years. But what followed for the people who found the channel was a kind of frustration. The usual way the internet solves mysteries all hit dead ends. The channel left almost nothing behind. No real information attached to the account.
That's 2020 was when, COVID hit, right? So who knows what happened at that point? Like, they could have gotten, either of them could have gotten sick, and then, bad stuff could have happened. And thus, that's why there's no more videos. Because, if his, what do you call the person who's being watched? Are they a voyeur? Is the person watching a voyeur? I don't know. The subject of their voyeurism could have passed via, sickness, or the photographer themselves, or the voyeur themselves could have been someone who passed via sickness, possibly, and that's why there's no more videos.
Absolutely nothing. But the story doesn't actually end with the YouTube channel going silent.
Does it?
A Weibo account was discovered that appears to belong to the same person behind the YouTube channel.
2024, so still later. Okay, go back then.
A Weibo account.
Commercial radio did not release details of the press conference, but some fans had already learned that it would be held on November 4th, and the group of Jing fans had already camped overnight at Ngongping village. Ju ate feces and then sugar. Is that what it says? Question mark? Why such a weird thing to say? Fashion show next 5 p.m. has 7 heads, pig emoji, a picture with laughing crying emoji, Tuo Kaichi, and then again more photos. The dog barks but doesn't have a leash, and then harvesting.
And what is found?
Dog rushes to Ju's head, pig emoji. Looks just like my god brother. I don't know what that is a picture of. Trash? Question mark. Then shares pictures.
Found there reveals more of the story.
More Jutol demonstrates how to shoot AV. AV. I don't know what AV means other than maybe adult video. So nography, is that what that's supposed to mean? A lot of the stuff is sharp. By sharp I mean attacks or jokes or possibly upset at somebody. It seems like it could be. Also, I'll rewind and let him talk. I just want to read all these things. Juto, oof, again, pig emoji. So yeah, that's what I mean by sharp. They're all trying to make fun of something their saying violent is not the right word. That's why I'm saying sharp, because it's their attacks, but kind of attacks. The sentences aren't just statements or anything, they're attacks, so thus sharp. Even after walking through so many poop stalls, the poop is still this big. Whatever that emoji is.
Every single post.
Jutol releases materials, be a door dog. Is that a pig emoji as well, but just like wide open heart mouth pig emoji and then just a regular pig emoji? Look at him pretending to be a dog, running around like that, laughing, crying emoji. Jutol, Wan, Ibinjo. Don't know what any of that means. We got pig emoji again. Says that twice. Hopefully I didn't say anything horrific. Don't come at me if I said anything horrific. I don't want to know what I just said. Just again. Jutol again. Pig emoji. Godbrother's 3-tiered ladder.
Vicious.
And then pictures again. Only Jutol ate Shi and got excited. Attracting hidden celebrities of the century. Jutol performance. No Miss Asia. No slapstick comedy. What a loser. Crying laughing emoji. Jutol is left. I must go to that street. Blah blah blah. More blah blah blah.
The attack.
He just keeps going. Like the demon revealing. Maybe I should just mute this so it doesn't sound so annoying when I do that. The demon revealing mirror reveals a rotten face. Pictures. Something looked. More pictures. Street. Chinatown. Steals food from the feces. Eats sugar. I don't know if that's also a pig emoji. Only put away the left one. So cold that Jutol fell to the ground. And more pictures, of course. Went to eat good food. Silly. Pinching the whatever. The live broadcast of the conference was so bad it was almost unbelievable. Jutol was nowhere to be seen. This is going backwards, so the ones at top were like 2024. Of course, 6'7". 6'7" in the year 2023. That's stupid meme. I know that's not what it is, but it's just ironic. Okay, he's finally stopping. So now we can go back to the very beginning. Oh, I need to turn the audio back on.
A Weibo account was discovered that appears to belong to the same person behind the YouTube channel, and what is found there reveals more of the story of what's going on. Every single post on that account is filled with extremely vicious, vulgar, and highly personal attacks. The account owner doesn't just insult a Japanese photographer, they attack every other photographer who appears in the shots. And they also viciously target the female celebrities and models those photographers are shooting. The language is relentless, repeated endlessly, and deeply hateful. Based on the content, it seems to confirm that Japanese photographer specializes in photographing female models and celebrities. The person running the Weibo account repeatedly refers to him as an old pervert, and the level of contempt toward these photographers.
Is that what I said earlier? Because I didn't see that in any of those shots. It must have been what was in Chinese that I had said.
And the women they work with is unmistakable, and based on his account, it now starts to look less like simple stalking, more of someone actively venting deep-seated hatred. Which is strange, because there are signs this person may also be connected to the entertainment industry in Hong Kong.
This is Godbrother, so I want to say this person is actually family. Because why talk about his god, whoever this person's Godbrother is, if not, if it doesn't have to do with this person they keep videotaping.
Hong Kong, just like the people they are ranting about. They follow a large number of models, interact with other industry professionals on Weibo, and appear to have insider knowledge of how these events and photo shoots work. And it's also possible they work for or are associated with a competing company in the same space. What makes this even stranger is that their hatred isn't limited to other photographers who may be seen as competition. They've also directed the same level of anger and disgust toward the actual models and the female celebrities themselves. The last time the Japanese photographer appeared on the account was May 6, 2021. After that, the person behind it seemed to finally move on. Since at least June of 2023, they've been posting obsessively about a different man, following the same pattern of hateful, vulgar attacks.
Okay, so it's not the same guy, it's a new guy, but again, COVID, right? So he might have gotten sick, or maybe he actually was finally eliminated by this guy. Who knows? Like just 13 years of stalking, then gets rid of him? Question mark. I mean, that's what you would want. That's what people want to believe, right? There's some sort of conspiracy that this guy's stalking and serial killing or something.
Just now aimed at someone completely new. What began as what seemed like simple stalking, thousands of quiet hidden videos on YouTube, has now revealed something far more disturbing. A person who didn't just watch someone in secret for over a decade, but who appears to have spent years actively hating them and other photographers, attacking the models they worked with, and continuing the same hatred across platforms, even after the original target disappeared. As for the photographer, he himself was never publicly identified in any verifiable way. Nobody knows if he ever found out about the channel. And all you're left with at the end of the day is a channel with 13 years of footage uploaded to a public platform of a man who had no idea who's being watched the entire time.
Like, how do you have like all these? You have like 7,000 videos of this man's face, and from a million different angles, and nobody knows who this man is.
We move through cities every day assuming strangers around us are just that, strangers. That no one is paying attention to us or singled us out.
Except for like in the last video where he talked about the illness where you think everybody is out to get you. So this is the opposite of that, where you go out, like he's saying now, you go out and you don't expect that anybody out there is giving two cruds about you. But actually, you could be being stalked. So it's a literal opposite spectrum of yesterday's video of being paranoid that everyone's out to get you. You got to be paranoid because they're all trying to get you. And then now it's like, oh, no one's paranoid because there's no one out to get you. But in fact, there is someone out to get you. So are the people from last video correct that there is someone always out there to get you, constantly paying attention, and you just don't know?
That we're practically invisible in the crowds. But in today's world with cell phones and constant surveillance, that assumption is fragile. And this channel shows you just how completely wrong that can be, and how long you could live without ever even knowing.
And that one's finally over. Washington missing.
February 2009. He's on a hanging bridge, small island scattered across the water, with the camera wobbling in the wind. The quality is not great, but he doesn't care. And he talks directly into the lens. He would give a few facts about the place and tell his viewers that they should visit, and he would end with a smile, the same phrase he would always end with.
This is Alex here, from Chittagong. Goodbye.
EmmyStarr Akbar was a school teacher in Chittagong. He taught English. He spoke it well. The early videos are just that. It's just a teacher with a camera and somewhere to be, and then it would all stop. The end of 2009, nothing. He went back to his classroom, his students, and the ordinary rhythm of his job. His account would sit there untouched from 2010 to 2012. And sometime around 2009 or 2010, he had met a Chinese woman, and they had a relationship. And sometime in 2010, his son is born in Bangladesh. EmmyStarr names him Washington, and he had picked that name before the boy was even born. American education was his idea from the beginning, with every single door open to him. The mother would soon leave after and went back to China, and EmmyStarr was alone with a newborn, a school teacher doing it all by himself. He would try to find her. He would even travel to her hometown, where she was from, visited her
No room in the hotel that the PSB sent us.
all by himself. He would try to find her. He would even travel to her hometown, where she was from, visited her friends and family, but would find absolutely nothing. But then he'd go back, the same result. He went a third time, but still found dead ends at every turn. And by early 2013, Washington was almost 3, and EmmyStarr would go back once again. On a normal street without warning, a stranger shoved him to the ground and started hitting him. It happened so fast that he couldn't do anything to stop it. When it was all over and he opened his eyes, he looked for Washington, but Washington was gone. He ran to the nearest police station, beaten and
But they kidnapped him?
bleeding, and told him everything. The mother had abandoned them in Bangladesh, and he had believed that she arranged the whole thing, all of it. But he spoke Bengali and English, and the officers didn't speak either. And the ones at the station had already seen him outside, crying over Washington's empty stroller right after it happened. He looked at them and told them his son had been taken. They told him they weren't responsible for foreigners, and he would call them cold-blooded. And watching the footage, it's hard to argue. He went to the Public Security Bureau, and they told him they only handled visas and sent him to foreign affairs. And each office he visited forwarded him to the next one, but he kept going back to the same police station anyway. He would go back, argue, cry, yell, pleading with them each time. But each time, it was the same wall, the language barrier, the indifference, with nothing moving. He tried
Is that just like a technicality, or is that how it works, or are they just actually being evil, right? I don't know where this is. Is this like in China? Where it's just like, hey, if you're a tourist here, you come with your children, and your children get kidnapped, well, tough luck, they're kidnapped now. Question mark. Bye.
the Bangladesh embassy in Beijing, the Chinese embassy in Dhaka. He says the diplomats were corrupt, that the information he gave them was being passed before it even reached the right hands, that they covered it with excuses about systems being hacked, and nothing came back from any of it. His previous employer in China was also withholding a release letter from an old contract, which meant he couldn't keep a valid visa, and there were stretches where immigration forced him to leave the country while Washington was still somewhere inside of it, missing. 6 months after the first trip, he went back, walked into the same police station and tried again. He picked up the camera again somewhere in those trips. The 2013 videos are nothing like the early ones.
Okay, so he has a camera attached to his body. It's like, how is he getting this footage, and how are they letting him get this footage?
He made flyers of Washington's face, his contact information, and he was going into crowds to hand them out one by one. In one clip, he spots a young woman pushing a baby in a stroller, and walks over and holds out a flyer. She takes it, looks at it confused. February 17th, 2014, a video called I Love My Washington. And somewhere in those months, he was in a traffic accident.
It's been more than a year. His mom's friends beat me up in Tingshui, would you say Tingshui? Ganshu, China, and took my son away from me. I even had a terrible traffic accident in Tianshui, which left my right hand injured forever to use it properly. As a teacher, it is important to use my right hand to write and draw on the blackboard to illustrate things to students. Yeah, I was going to say, like, how much is it going to affect you as a teacher, but obviously you have that, you need to write on the, like you say, on the blackboard. You need to grade tests with your hand and whatnot, all that kind of stuff. So now I'm back in Chittagong, Bangladesh, where me and my son was born.
That permanently injured his right hand, the hand he writes with, the hand he uses to write on the board, to draw diagrams for his students. He's a teacher, and his hand is how he does most of his job. 3.5 months across his trips, $3,000, and he would go home without Washington. He says most of the students in China knew what he'd be going through.
Most of the people that I know in China, including my students, they know I have been going through tremendous depression as my son's been kidnapped. They also know parents' attachment is very important for children's overall growth. I have been dragged to waste 3.5 months and $3,000 in Tianxi, Gangxi, China, but couldn't meet my son for once. This section's almost over. That's worrying.
Washington. He says most of the students in China knew what he'd been going through, that he'd been living with tremendous depression since Washington disappeared. And he starts going back through it. The beating, the police station, the PSB, the embassies, the flyers, the accident, the money, all of it. That video only has roughly 500 views. After that, uploads change, lessons for our students. And Washington's name doesn't come up again in any of them. There was no explanation, no update. The videos is quietly becoming something else. The last one
11 years ago
was uploaded on January 21st, 2015. The channel has 45 subscribers, 26 videos, and hasn't been touched since. The comment section has filled in slowly over the years. Strangers who had found the videos recently, asking if he's okay, hoping he found his son. But EmmyStarr hasn't replied to any of them. As of now, Washington would be roughly about 14, and no update has ever been posted, not once, meaning EmmyStarr might have never found his son.
I shot my brother.
My brother just tried framing me again, so I shot.
Just tried framing again? Yeah, that sentence is just so goes. Is it so matter of fact? Is that the right use of that? It's just like, oh yeah, my brother tried to frame me, so I shot him.
My brother just tried framing me again, so I shot him.
He said into his phone, no panic in his voice, like he was just making a normal video.
Yeah, that's what I was trying to say.
His name is Marcelo Alexander Mariduena, and he would film those videos while police had his house surrounded. If you were in a specific corner of TikTok before May 2025, you might already know who he was.
I mean, I don't know anything about TikTok. I don't use TikTok.
His account was Swibbly Goated. His content, the thing that gave him his following and millions of views, was built around gross humor, feces-based pranks. And people online knew him as the Poop Bandit.
What is what he's saying down there? Vegan atheist brokey? Like as in he's broke? TikTok censoring my real contents. Feds protecting PDF files.
This wasn't actually a joke, and this was his brand. So when the video started circulating on May 2nd, a huge chunk of the people watching assumed it was just another bit, another stunt, another day on weird TikTok. It fit his persona so completely that staging a fake standoff as content seemed more plausible than the alternative. But it wasn't staged. Around 1:30 that afternoon, inside a home in Oakwood, Georgia, about 50 miles north of Atlanta, a domestic argument broke out between Marcelo and his brother, and Marcelo would pull out a gun and shoot his brother multiple times. His brother, bleeding and badly wounded, made it out of the house. He ran, and almost immediately, he would run into Oakwood Police Chief Tim Hatch.
Oh, so he actually ran out. So he got shot multiple times, but was still functional enough to be able to run?
Who just happened to be patrolling nearby.
I mean, that's pretty lucky, but I don't know if this guy's still gonna live, though.
His brother walked up to the chief and said, "My brother shot me." Hatch gave first aid on the spot and called for backup, and officers would arrive quickly. And within minutes, the house was completely surrounded. Patrol cars, officers positioned outside, the full situation unfolding on the street. And Marcelo was inside, and he wasn't coming out. But what he was doing instead was filming TikToks. While the standoff ran, Marcelo sat inside and posted multiple videos to the same account where he posted everything else.
My brother just tried framing me again, so I shot him. Yeah, good times. He took out his phone, tried framing me for being a vegan again. Says, yeah, you're a Satanist, a devil worshiper, all this and that, called the cops on me like a bitch. So I shot him. Anyways, he has a criminal conviction, has fled Ecuador for being, does drugs, laundering, everything, I guess. Doesn't have a license here, but somehow still calls the cops because they want to bang whoever I'm banging also. All right, so this is my brother trying to get me killed. He called the cops on me because he's trying to frame me again.
I was thinking, see, I think there's a cop over to the right behind a car, like pointing a gun at him. Not forward, you need to go backwards. Maybe that's his brother? Like right here, see, this is a cop. I don't know if he's holding weapons we can't see, so YouTube, so you better not get mad at me because we can't see Jack there. You can't assume that it's a gun.
Because he's trying to frame me again, just for being a vegan. What he did was he fled Ecuador for a cocaine problem in the clinic. He fled for cocaine, he doesn't have a license, he tries using my license abroad, and then he tries framing me just to get me in trouble. He uses fear-mongering tactics, and I guess right now I'm probably gonna die.
But are you making this up yourself too?
It's my brother for you.
He said his brother had been calling him a Satanist, a devil worshipper, an atheist, a vegan atheist brokey, that his brother kept taking his phone to frame him, and that this, being accused of these things, being set up for them, was the reason. TikTok pulled the videos down fast, but not fast enough. Millions had already seen them. And police had already confirmed that they were real, and folded them into an investigation as evidence. The standoff itself lasted just about 30 minutes. Chief Hatch, the same officer who had knelt in the driveway and given first aid to the wounded brother, personally called Marcelo on the phone and talked to him. And after a calm conversation, Marcelo finally agreed to walk out, and he would surrender in the front yard. Meanwhile, his brother had been rushed to the hospital in critical condition. He was stabilized, and he luckily survived.
Okay, well, at least we got that. That's good.
And because he survived, Marcelo was charged with aggravated assault rather than murder.
I mean, that's good for the brother, right? That he didn't have to get charged with murder and possibly go life, or possibly, I don't know if they would give him the death penalty because could we argue this is a crime of passion if that's what would have happened if he would have died from it?
Although additional charges remain
I don't think so.
And on May 23rd, 2025, Marcelo walked into court for his first appearance. He chose to represent himself with no lawyer, facing charges to a shooting he had already confessed to on camera in front of millions of people. And as of early 2026, the case is still open. There's still been no plea deal, no trial date, and no sentencing, and still moving through the court system. If this was any other time period, this case would probably be on a newspaper, but in today's world, the Poop Bandit filmed his confession during an active standoff, and posted it to the same account where he posted everything else, and millions of people watched it, and couldn't tell if it was content or a crime. Luckily, the brother survived, and the case itself is still pending. The videos are still out there.
Yeah, it's just the issue with, I don't know what you call this, the obsession society has with content. I mean, we're watching content right now, but still the social media, I guess, social media obsession with that society has that is getting out of hand. Everything has to be on social media, and then you lose track of reality, right? Because everything is being looked through a lens. Even him, like maybe he has lost it from just doing content for too long. Question mark, right? The perfect family. This is the last thing, I think. 10 minutes of this one.
In the fall
Over
of
10 minutes.
2006, Jennifer and Sarah Hart posted their first photographs of their new family on Facebook. Jennifer was 27, Sarah 28. They had just adopted 3 children. Marquise, Hannah, and
Do I know this? I feel like I know this.
Abigail, all from the Texas foster care system. All kids the system has struggled to place. And the captions of the photos were long and full of gratitude, and the comments filled up with thousands of replies from strangers, saying the post gave them hope.
Like, is this the one where these women were using them like literal, like slaves, question mark? You know, look at what they look like, by the way. I think they were, like, I think that's what they were doing, but that might have been a different story, and this is something completely different. And abusing them, question mark? Or maybe they were getting more kids too, I don't know. And then maybe they got shipped off once they found out these people were evil. They got shipped off to another family, and that family was evil too. Like, is this story?
Even friends said that Jennifer made parenting look effortless, that there was nothing about the way she presented her life that seemed at odds with who she was. But in the spring of 2008,
Concerns were of a bruise on the blank left arm. I guess on Blank's left arm. Blank had been indicating to staff that Blank mother had struck Blank with a belt on the previous day. This time, from a law enforcement standpoint, this case is closed.
A teacher in Alexandria, Minnesota, noticed bruises on Hannah Hart's arm. Hannah was just 6 years old at the time. When the teacher asked about them, the girl said her parents had hit her with a belt. Investigators looked into it and couldn't find enough to move forward, so no charges were filed. The school year ended, and in that fall, the Hart children re-enrolled as if nothing happened. In late 2010, just about 2 years later, a teacher noticed bruises on 6-year-old Abigail, and of course, alerted investigators. And when the children were interviewed separately this time, they said more than they had before. They described being spanked, going without meals as punishment.
Hannah reported to the school nurse that she had not eaten today. Jen got angry with her, said she was disrespectful. The referent attempted to speak with Sarah Hart about this concern, and Sarah's response was, "She's playing the food card, just give her water." Hannah reported to the school nurse that she had not eaten today. Jen got angry with her, said that she was disrespectful. To speak with Sarah Hart about this concern. Is Sarah the mom? Like, Hannah talked to the nurse about something, then Jen got angry. Who's Jen? So we have 3 people here. 4 technically. We have Hannah, who's probably the child. We have the nurse. We have Jen, whoever the heck that is. And then Sarah.
And being grounded for stretches that had no clear end. When Sarah Hart was questioned, she took responsibility for striking Abigail and pleaded guilty to domestic assault, receiving probation, community service, and a 90-day jail sentence.
Misdemeanor sentence jail. 90 days is like a long time to keep a mom away from her children, right? So
I was immediately suspended. In just
okay, it was suspended anyways.
1 week after the plea, Jennifer and Sarah pulled all 6 children out of school permanently.
I know there's a long pause here because I just realized this is not the story of the lady who was adopting children, because I don't think she was with another woman, the one I'm thinking of. The lady who adopted a bunch of kids and was like treating them horribly, abusing them, treating them as slaves or whatever. This is not that. This is worse. What's about to happen? If it's what I think it is, we're going to end up in an ocean.
In that decision, closed off the children's last regular contact with adults who were legally required to report what they saw, meaning no more teachers, no school nurses, or counselors. That now, whatever happened inside the house from that point on, stayed there. And after some time, the family decided to move to Oregon, and by then, they had adopted 3 more children: Devontae, Jeremiah, and Sierra, biological.
Yeah, because these ones look familiar, more familiar than the first ones.
Oregon. And by then, they had adopted 3 more children: Devontae, Jeremiah, and Sierra, biological siblings from Houston, now totaling 6 children.
I think we see a lot of footage of them, right? I think they were doing online videos. Like, it's all coming back to me now.
Once in Oregon, a few people who knew the Harts started calling child welfare.
Like Devontae specifically, I think I remember him like doing online videos, right?
One former friend who knew the family told investigators that Jennifer ran the household like a boot camp. The children were not allowed to speak without raising their hands first. They couldn't even wish each other happy birthday. Laughter at the dinner table wasn't permitted. She told investigators that the children were scared to death of Jennifer, that they were moving through the house like they'd been trained rather than actually being raised. And then came to detail about the photographs. She told investigators that Jennifer staged the family's Facebook pictures, arranging everyone until they looked warm and happy. When the camera was put away, the children went back to looking lifeless. Eventually, in August 2013, they interviewed the children separately, and the interviews themselves were strange. Every child's answer was nearly word for word the exact same, scripted, flat, insisting that there was no abuse, and that they were grateful for their situation. It was almost as if each one of them had been told exactly what to say.
Yeah, I feel like if you hear that, it's like, okay, no, it implies that bad things are happening, even though what's being said is the exact opposite. If everyone has the exact same answer in unison, then it implies that what is being said is the opposite of what's actually happening.
They also noted that the children did not show any emotion. When Jennifer was interviewed, she told the investigator that the family's difficulties came from other people being unable to accept 2 lesbian mothers raising black children.
That's you just can't be using stuff like that excuses. It's just using that stuff as a shield. Or you shouldn't be using your race or your sexuality as a shield. Question mark. Especially in this case, right? Because they're literally doing bad things with these children. So you shouldn't be throwing the entire, because when you do that, you're throwing like all, you're taking other people from that demographic down with you, question mark, by using them as a shield to now associate bad behavior with that demographic and then getting away with it, question mark.
And for whatever reason, officials concluded that they were unable to determine whether abuse had actually occurred, and they would eventually close the case.
Again, I think this ends in an ocean, which I'm trying not to spoil it, but I don't know if you can understand what I'm saying by that.
And over a year later, that family was still in Oregon. On the evening of November 25th, 2014, a photojournalist named Johnny Nguyen was working on a protest in Portland. While moving through a crowd on Southwest Broadway, he spotted a 12-year-old boy standing on the sidewalk with tears running down his face. A white police sergeant had crouched right in front of him, and they were holding each other. Nguyen took the photograph, and it spread faster than almost anyone could have possibly imagined. Newspaper ran it full page. And at a time when the country felt divided, this image of a 12-year-old boy and a police officer holding each other moved the country with unusual speed. That boy was Devontae Hart. And within days, his face was one of the most recognized photographs of the entire year. Jennifer posted about that moment the same evening. Devontae had decided to attend on his own. His empathy has always been enormous. That was simply who he was. In the spring of 2017, the family relocated to Woodland, Washington, and moved in next to Bruce and Danica Bulb. And they noticed early on that the blinds in the Hart house were almost always drawn, that the children would rarely appear outside. And then, in August, at 1:30 in the morning, their doorbell rang. Hannah Hart was standing on their porch. She was...
Reference reports Hannah jumped out of the second-story window 6 months ago at 1:30 a.m. Hannah told Reference the moms were racist and were abusing her. Reference reports this, I am combining them like I'm saying like they're treating them like slaves. Maybe this is that one plus the ocean story. Reference reports this was the first time they had seen her and the family, and they had lived in the home for 4 months. Is it acceptable for a police report to have typos like this? Did I just read that wrong? Reports this was the first time they had seen her and the family, and they had lived in the home for 4 months. I swear that's a typo. Which, like, really on a professional document, there's just such a big typo.
16 at the time, and she had jumped from her second-story bedroom window in the middle of the night and ran next door. She told them their mothers were racist and abusing her. She said she was being whipped with belts, and she said, "Please don't make me go back." The couple would call Jennifer and Sarah, who came and collected Hannah, and the following day Jennifer told them that Hannah had been lying, that the children sometimes acted out because of their difficult early histories, and that Hannah had a particular tendency toward drama. And later, a letter would arrive at their door just shortly after. It was from Hannah. It said that she was sorry for disturbing their peace, that she'd been telling lies for attention, and that she was trying to be more honest. After that, Devontae started showing up at their door. He came back over several weeks.
Devontae has been coming over 2 to 3 times per day for the last week asking for food. Yeah, I think I vaguely remember that was going to be about food. She asked if they were abusing him, and he said sometimes. He mentioned they go long periods of time without food, and they are just hungry.
Sometimes asking for food, and sometimes just quietly standing there until he could find the words. He told them food was withheld inside the house when his mothers wanted to punish the children, and he asked them to keep the visits a secret. If the family got reported, they would all be split up, he said. And finally, the couple filed a report with Washington State Child Welfare in early 2018. Caseworkers would go to the Hart home on March 23rd and would get no answer. 3 days later, the family was gone.
Yeah, like they weren't able to do anything. This is where the unfortunate part comes into play. That they tried to do something about it. They tried to stop them from abusing the kids, but the system is just it's not fast enough.
They drove south along the Pacific Coast Highway with Jennifer at the wheel, and on the morning of March 26th, a passenger on Highway 1 near Westport, California, called 911 to report a vehicle at the bottom of a cliff, upside down in the surf, 100 feet below the road. Highway patrol officers examined the roadway above and found nothing.
I don't remember if there's a video for this or not, of them jumping off the cliff.
No skid marks, no sign of braking or no swerving. The SUV's onboard computer would tell the rest of the story, that the vehicle had pulled into a gravel pullout, paused, and then accelerated 70 feet in a straight line before going over the edge. And Jennifer's blood alcohol level at the time was .012. She was over the legal limit. Marquise, Jeremiah, and Abigail were found at and around the wreck. Hannah's body on the rocks below, and Sierra washed ashore several days later. Devontae was never recovered from the water. He was 15 years old at the time, and he is still officially listed as missing, presumed dead.
Yeah, I mean, we can at least hope that Devontae got out, but he's probably just lost at sea. This is what I was saying about the ocean. This one ends this way. That these two evil women, I assume this is heinous women, just, committed, can you call it infanticide if they're not that young? They got rid of these children, and it's just like, just evil.
Sarah's phone was pulled from the wreckage, and hours before the crash, she had looked up for the lethality of Benadryl and what death by drowning feels like. She had also searched for no-kill shelters for dogs.
Again, this was like premeditated.
The family's 2 dogs were found alive inside the woodland house, and all 5 of the recovered children had Benadryl in their systems.
Yeah, she put them to sleep. I think it was trying to make them sleep them before they were gotten rid of. I mean,
at levels high enough to render them unconscious.
It's like showing the mercy there at the end. It's like, it doesn't matter. You're getting rid of what, like 6, 7 plus kids. I don't know how many kids they had at this point that you just stole. No, again, like just racists. Extremely racist, right? They just adopted all these black children, just to abuse them for their entire lives, and then drown them to death, basically. Or I guess maybe some of them just died on impact. But
when the autopsy results came back over the following weeks, they were among the hardest findings investigators have seen in years. Marquise was 19 years old and weighed roughly 50 pounds.
Okay, so they were pretty old at this point. Like, if he was 19, I feel like he should have just. I guess he can't do anything, right? I was like, if you're 19, just fight back. You have permission to beat them up, right? At that point, but then it's like, oh, he weighs 50 pounds. Like, they'll snap him in half at that point. They probably specifically kept them malnourished so they couldn't fight back, right? They literally have no energy, no muscle, no nothing to do anything to stop themselves from being abused.
The younger children were just about the same. Bodies had simply stopped developing years before the crash, bones gone brittle, organs that never reached the size they were supposed to reach. Food had been withheld deliberately, and this wasn't because of poverty. It was used as a means of control.
Yeah, that's what I was saying. Like, they did this on purpose so that they literally couldn't do anything to stop them from doing it to them.
After the crash, a community formed on Reddit, specifically r/Heart Family Crash, and users began pulling everything together they could find. They archived every Facebook post and matched the dates against CPS records, as those would become public. Caption after caption sat beside case file after case file, and the same pattern kept appearing. Jennifer's warmth in those posts against what was actually happening to those children during those same weeks, in that same house. People who had previously shared those photographs for years came forward saying they felt sick. They had held them up as proof of something worth believing in, and now they were sitting with autopsy reports that they could not believe. Johnny Wynn, the photojournalist who had taken the image of Devontae, spoke publicly after the crash. He said he had captured a child in pain without understanding how deep that pain actually went. And he stated, Devontae tears on that sidewalk was much deeper than everyone once thought. And some of the failure came down to how the system was built. When a family moves across state lines, documentation doesn't automatically follow. The new state means new caseworkers with no access to what came before. No record of prior investigations, no picture of the full pattern. The trail resetting while the family settles somewhere else, as they can start fresh and present itself to new eyes.
Because that's why they keep moving around.
Not to mention, Jennifer and Sarah Hart were well educated, composed, and fluent in the exact language institutions tend to trust. They could walk into a CPS visit and walk out looking like the most reasonable people in the room. But still, the signs were clearly there. And at each point where the system honestly had the chance to look harder, they didn't, as they would just take the Hart's word for it. Hannah went to school at just 6 years old, with bruises on her arm. Nothing really came of it. Devontae stood crying at a protest at 12. People didn't even realize what was actually happening. Years later, Hannah jumped from a second-story window at just 16. Devontae came to that same neighbor's door at just...
I'm surprised that she didn't break any bones with how malnourished she was. I mean, she probably did.
15, begging not to be reported. And at each one of these moments, the help either didn't come at all, or came just too late. And this was all behind photographs that were shared to the world. Nobody asked what the children looked like after the camera was put away.
Yeah, I mean, that one at the end is just like horrible, but it's one I already knew about. I mean, I haven't thought about it since learning about it, but I know how it ended, at least, question mark. There's something else I wanted to say about that, but I can't remember what it was going to be because I was waiting for it to be over. But I remember it now. You can I mean, it's dumb, but you can hope that maybe Devontae is out there somewhere, right? Because they never found him. Like, you could assume that he's just lost to sea, right? But maybe he was able to escape because he was able to do that constantly from the house multiple times. So maybe he was able to get out before this happened, and he's just out there wandering somewhere, or he woke up before this happened and like was able to get out of the car and just like ran off somewhere. But if if that's the case, then he probably would have just like dropped from malnourishment. But maybe they would have found him if he was so close to where it dropped off. Maybe like a best case scenario, he ran to the neighbors and was hanging out at the neighbor's house, and then the women didn't know where he was, so they just rounded everybody up and was like, okay, we're tired of constantly being accosted by everyone, not letting us abuse these children. We're going to just get rid of everyone and ourselves. And then just left Devontae because they couldn't find him and they didn't want to get any more in any more trouble. So it's like, screw it, we're just going to get rid of everyone. So maybe Devontae's fine and he's just not hanging out with that couple, but maybe he's at that couple's house just waiting to come out and be like, hey, I'm still alive. And then like tells a story of what happened, whatever, I don't know. I mean, that's just hopeful thinking, but like, do you even want him to be alive knowing that his entire family is gone? It's like, is it better for him to just have been with them, or to be alive and then have to live with what had happened to you, and then the fact that all of your siblings, all the ones that you were actually related to and not related to, are just gone? Question mark. I don't know. Yeah, that is going to be it for today. This video is late. It's 9:34. I mean, you can see what time it is in the corner down there. So it's 9:33. Just turned 34 now. Yeah, it's 9:34, so it is pretty late. We're way past the time this video should be uploaded, so this probably will be going up at 10, question mark. But yeah, cuties, thanks for watching. Remember to buy my stickers, think about becoming a member, subscribe if you haven't subscribed. We're working on watch time and subscribers, and don't forget we have a throne now as well. And shout out to the members, EmmyStarr, RaleyDrew, and alexgkiller 880. Of course, that QR code there goes to my throne, so that if you want to help the channel out with any gifting or whatnot, it's there. What do I have on this one? Yeah, I just changed this one, though. This other QR code to the Nintendo Switch 2, because I don't have it set to the computer anymore. So if you go to that code, it'll you can help me get a Switch 2, so we do more Switch stuff, better Switch stuff. Because I have a Switch, of course, but it's run its course, right? So if you want to help the channel get a Switch 2, that would be appreciated, question mark. Yeah, cuties, thanks for watching. Tune into the next episode. Like, subscribe, comment. You know the do. Oh, like, subscribe, hype, and comment. You know the do. See ya.